Here now to react, Mike Huckabee, former Arkansas governor. Governor, great to see you. Let's talk about this because the November 2nd incident that Mike references there, the $1,000 bail, it was so low. That's what put Darrell Brooks back on the streets. And now we've got a $5 million bond. He's not going to get out again. But why does it have to be so extreme? Why couldn't we have seen this person not get back on the streets? How could he be allowed to do this again?
Jackie, there is a movement across the country, largely sponsored by George Soros and his organizations, to get these prosecutors elected to take on the most ridiculous policies, such as no bail or very low bail. Now, the fact is, $1,000 bail means you basically are going to lose $100 because you're going to lose 10%. So for $100, this guy walks, and all he's got to do is show up in court. It's a ridiculous situation, and after he did what he did to the mother of his child, that should have warranted a far greater bail than $1,000. And I think now even the prosecutors admit that, but it's a little too late for the 6 people who are dead and the 48 who are injured.
It really is, and that's the part of this that's even more tragic than the incident itself, that it could have been prevented if it was handled properly. And what's also interesting is the White House response. In the wake of this, a senior or White House official told Fox News this about cash bail. Ending cash bail will not automatically put people charged with crimes on the streets. It just means that whether you get bail should be based on the threat that you pose and not how much money you have in your bank account. Well, you know what? I think Darrell Brooks would cause a pretty big threat, and somebody should have known that.
This guy has a rap sheet that is longer than the Mississippi River. This goes back, for 20-something years. He's basically been a thug, an absolute criminal, and a lot of these crimes are violent crimes. So this notion that, well, we weren't sure how really dangerous he was. Look at his rap sheet, for heaven's sakes. This is insane. And I really hope that this trend and tendency to elect these crazy people to be prosecutors who essentially want to open the jails and let them loose, let's hope that comes to a screeching halt and people in cities and counties start coming to their senses and electing prosecutors who want to put dangerous people behind bars. There's an old saying that we used to say in the Arkansas Department of Corrections. We're locking up a lot of people we're mad at rather than the ones we're afraid of. And some people, we maybe lock them up wrongly just because we're mad at them. But there are people that we're afraid of. They need to be locked up. This guy should have been locked up.
Yeah. And, you see it. We talk about the midterm elections and Americans having an opportunity to voice concerns and make different decisions at the polls when it comes to issues like inflation, as we've been discussing, high gas prices, high food prices. I wonder if, the spike in crime that we see across the country, if that's resonating people, if you think they will start to really think about this issue more seriously, because we talked about it in the last presidential election, but, clearly people said that wasn't their top priority.
It may not be their top priority on any given day, but when it starts turning into a violent act against innocent people, like elderly people and kids, as we saw in Waukesha, it doesn't take too many of those incidences, and people are saying it's the highest thing of my priority list, because what else is there if we're not able to walk down a city street, watch a Christmas parade, and somehow not be able to do that without being in fear for our lives for some crazy person driving an SUV right over the bodies of completely innocent people enjoying the holiday. This is the kind of stuff that I think scares people to death, makes them want to curl up in a fetal position under their bed at home. That's not how we live as free people. But you got to take the threat out, which means, Jackie, these are the kind of people that must be taken off the streets and held in a jail cell until, they can prove that they can somehow play with the rest of us in a fair and decent way.
It would be nice to see that. Mike Huckabee, thank you so much. Good to see you tonight, and have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you, Jackie. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you.